Sorry, I'm bobbing along with the music too. Welcome back, neighbors. Chiefs Kingdom, wherever you happen to be. This is post-game after week 8. Chiefs have won another one, and we are going to run through the breakdown of everything that we saw, our notes, et cetera, et cetera. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of RGR and Rogue Analytics, and he is Dan Harms. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing well. I definitely thought this was going to be a little bit different of a game, and I'm kind of glad it turned out this way.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Hit the prediction pretty much on the head. I gave him a little bit more credit than I should have, evidently, but more power to the Chiefs defense for pulling that off.
Yeah, they did a good job in the second half. I was a little annoyed with perturbed is the proper word for how I felt in the first half, but they locked down in the second one, and it definitely helped this team find itself and be more comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. Folks, tonight's beer. Cheers to you. Little double IPA of my own creation.
Look at you. Living the dream.
Talking
football, drinking beer you made. I mean, what else can you do?
It's good to have a wife that supports your obsessions.
Yep, I can attest to that.
And shout out to Brookie. I don't think she's watching tonight, but hey. We do have a ton of friends, new and old, in here in the chat. So welcome to all of you. Aaron Morrow, our fearless mod, is in the house. What's up, Mr. Aaron? I do believe Jeff Porter is here as well, and you're going to be hearing more from Jeff Porter. Jeff is the guy who keeps me on the straight and narrow when it comes to researching for Rogue Analytics, and he's got a little stat shout out for you that you're going to hear this week. So keep an eye out for that as well. If you want to support the channel and you don't want to go buy all the books from analytics, that's okay. You can hit the super chats and the super stickers. They're wide open. In fact, looks like we already got one. So thank you very much. We're not going to do the whole Q&A tonight. We might guide the conversation by what you guys are looking for, but tomorrow night is a full-on hour of Q&A for whatever you guys want to know, and we'll go through that there. And then the film and the stats and all that come through the week, so keep an eye out. If you aren't, though, get subbed right now. Hit the like and the sub and the bell notification, just like you do everywhere else. You all know how to YouTube. Unless you came here from somewhere strange, then welcome to the universe of YouTube. We are live tonight. If you're catching this on replay or you found it in the search on YouTube, this was recorded live on Sunday evening, so you might be a touch behind. So what we're going to do is just kind of go through what was probably the best day that we've seen this season from Pat Mahomes. Would you argue with that?
I would say yes. Against the Ravens, he was better because they played a better caliber defense. The Jets are one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL, and it showed tonight. They were pretty much able to do whatever they wanted to. Throwing the football, Patrick Mahomes was on fire. He was the one time that they forced him to break down out of the pocket. He made an incredible pass to Cole Hardman at his fingertips, and it was all working for them tonight. So I would say the Ravens, just because we know that they're ahead above the Jets in terms of defensive performance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was pretty pleased with the way that came out. I'm sure you guys saw some of my comments on Twitter because that's where I put the feed when I'm reacting live. But my biggest thing early was the fact that they showed up and they were ready to go. You didn't see the overthrows. You didn't see Patrick rushing things. You didn't see the nerves that you sometimes see with him in particular, but Travis sometimes too. In the early goings, the first few drives, looks like they walked out on the field and were ready to do it.
Yeah, it's nice to see them not have any yips. And granted, I don't think they could have had yips against this team. And we talked about it in our pregame. Like, they had to be prepared. And I don't know if you guys saw much of else what happened around the league this week already. They had to come prepared because Bengals beat the Titans. The Dolphins whooped up on the Rams. Like, quite a few crazy things happened already this week. And you have to be prepared for any team in the NFL. And even though the Jets are one of the worst teams, the worst run teams of the last decade, you still have to have a certain amount of respect. And their offense was able to move the football pretty well down the field. But the Chiefs defense does what it does most times, and it tightens as soon as they get near a touchdown or even close to the red zone. And that's what they did. They forced them to hold them to field goals. So I'd like to see them be a little bit more aggressive on defense early in games, especially against bad offenses. But, I mean, I'm not going to really complain too much about field goals.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 9 points.
Yeah, exactly.
You can win nearly every week allowing just 9 points. So we'll take it.
Yeah.
Want to shout out the first super chat tonight. Thank you all very much. And folks, tune in tomorrow night because you're going to see all the super chatters for the last couple of months. We're going to shout you out tomorrow night on a nice visual. But hey, how are you, Chris? Thanks for the support. Chris. And you'd like to see OC next year behind, as assuming that EB is going to leave for a head coaching gig, and I do believe that's true. So, who's your first up?
It's going to be Mike Kafka. I don't think there's any other ways about it. The only guy that we've known to be help creating plays in the offense, working with the offense as close as they do, is Mike Kafka. We haven't heard anybody else's name, but as soon as he comes up, there's always going to be somebody else. So he's got guys that he doesn't want to show the league yet, but Kafka is one name that we know is there. So that's what I would assume, and then we're going to see somebody else.
I completely agree with you. And folks, that means that Jay Blameyer will become the quarterback coach, which means he's the next guy to be the coordinator, who's the next guy to get a head coaching job. It goes on and on and on. The tree keeps sprouting. So that's really the way. I completely agree with you. That's what I'm expecting as well. Stevie Keys, thank you for yours. We'll get to this too. Dave Tobe's unit looks like the old Dave Tobe units. Shout out to the special teams, especially Townsend and Watts. That brings me to one of the surprises of the game. And I tweeted this out really late because the team finished at the end of the day with 3 passers with over 100 rating. And one of those was Tommy Townsend, the punter. A, they didn't need to go for it. B, I never expected him to throw a pass, not only at all, but like that. It wasn't.
It was Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, right. Hey, they're in disguise. The only difference is a COVID designation, right?
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. They said he has COVID so they could come here and throw that pass exactly against the Jets.
I like that plan. And it was a frozen rope. I mean, he looks like he's done this before, and I never heard of him throwing any passes in college. So they just decided to coach him up for a week and see what he could do.
It was the best. And when you have a punter, we've seen punters around the league being able to throw the football. I forget, it's the Rams punter. I can't forget his name. I can see his face. He's known for doing this all over someone in the lives in the comments, please help me out here. I know that he's known for doing this, but there's a lot of punters that practice doing this a lot. And Townsend probably came into camp and they were just like, look, let's see if you can throw the football. Why not? Let's see what we got here. And he's not only got a cannon of a leg, he's got a cannon of an arm, just threw a seed to Byron Pringle for a first down. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw Dustin Colquitt make a couple of attempts in his career, but none of them ever looked like that.
No.
And Dustin, I miss you. I hope you're good. But that said, that was unique, and that's after the return last week. This play this week, where clearly they were trying to make a statement. I think because again, situationally, they didn't need to do that. No. But I think it puts the rest of the league on notice, and I think that kind of backs them off a little bit of their pass rush. I'm sorry, their kick rush. And that's got to be good for the team overall as they go through the end of the season, because at this point, and I sent this out a little while ago, you guys, right now, after week 8, the division is exactly how I predicted in preseason. The Chiefs are up top pretty much by themselves. Don't get alarmed with the Raiders. And those of you in Raider Nation, shut up. It's ticking down. So there's not a whole lot of urgency there in the AFC West. But I think this does things for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who pulled it out today, the Ravens that they barely beat, and some of the other division likely winners that the Chiefs are going to have to look at.
Yeah, and we look around the AFC, and the Steelers, even though they're undefeated, I'm not super impressed with the way that they've won the last couple of games. Ben almost lost the game against the Titans. They pretty much allowed Lamar Jackson to do a lot of things down to the end of the game, which, granted, again, Lamar Jackson not being able to come back again in games that he needs to throw the football. Yeah. We saw the Ravens try to run it on 4th and 3, and the Steelers ready for it. Like they just knew that he's not going to want to throw the football because he's not that accurate and he doesn't know what to do. So those two teams probably are 1 and 2 behind the Chiefs. There's a pretty big gap, in my opinion, between the Chiefs, then the Steelers, and the Ravens, and then the Titans after that. Titans reflect kind of like the Ravens. You get a lead on them, they can't really come back. Their quarterback's not made to do that. Their offense isn't built for that. If you get Big Ben on a day where he's not trying to give the game away, probably the best chance to be challenging to the Chiefs. So the AFC looks pretty good for the Chiefs right now. But, as we get closer into December, those Pittsburgh Steelers defenses and the Ravens defense will get better. That's just kind of how it is. They have those types of physical, cold weather defensive teams. So it'll be fun. I think it's going to be a fun playoffs matchup. And it's going to come down to the Steelers and the Chiefs for the number 1 seed. We're going to figure out who's going to beat the Steelers because they don't have a very hard schedule going down either.
Right. And they did put that graphic up today. Chiefs have like the easiest schedule forward, but Steelers are up there as well. We'll have to see. And obviously you want to have all your weapons.
Yeah.
A lot of people asking this. How do you feel about Longmorn's question? Thank you, Longmorn. I appreciate it. And have a dram for me. Cheers.
So, I was watching McCole, and this game, I think they finally let him loose a little bit. He was running short routes. He was running intermediate routes. He was running deep routes, and not just flats like slants and double moves down the field. He was running a bunch of different kinds of routes. And you saw, the Chiefs had 3 receivers today go for over 95 yards and at least a touchdown. That's without Sammy Watkins. Like, that's incredible. I know that we talked about the Jets defense, pass defense being bad, but you've got now McCole Hardman starting to, I think they're finally letting him move loose a little bit. And I think that has to do with them saying, look, it's halfway through the season. We're going to start to let you do a little bit more, because I think that what we saw in the offseason, he was working with the footwork coach in the offseason. And I think that he had improved on all these things coming into now. And now they're just like, yeah, let's go ahead and unleash you a little bit, because Sammy's going to come back. And now if you have McCole and Hill and Watkins on the field at the same time, and you have McCole be able to run most of the route tree, then you have threats everywhere, not just too deep down the field and then one in the intermediate. You can hit them anywhere, short, intermediate, deep, with all 3 of those guys. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing when Sammy returns.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I thought you saw what Tyreek's able to do when teams don't dedicate themselves to stopping them. This is another thing about the Jets being the Jets. But after seeing weeks of them slowing the Chiefs offense, they elected not to do anything over the top, not to they even came out and said, we're putting more of an emphasis on coverage. Well, you still manned up way too much. You didn't get deep enough. And that exposed them, right? And you saw what Tyreek does. So next time, with McCole doing what he's doing, and they're able, like Longmorn asked here, is his route running better? Yes, somewhat. But it's also an aspect of having more room to work in there because they're not dedicating space.
Exactly.
When Sammy's back and Tyreek's out here, and now McCole can do some of the over routes, some things to take advantage of his speed against zone coverage. This is where, I mean, we've been saying pick your poison for what, 3 seasons, but now there's not a block where you pick that one and you still survive. You are going to get crushed no matter
especially what. If McCole's stepping up his route running, and if they're starting to unleash him a little bit more with the route tree. That's been the whole thing to this point in the season, that they've not used him many different ways. There's been a lot of jet sweep motions, a lot of deep routes, a lot of short stuff, but now we're seeing them just start to mess with teams. And I think that this has all been a mental play from the start. They didn't have to play McCole so much in the beginning. They had Sammy, they had Hill, they got Kelsey out there. They're like, we'll just go ahead and use you on some jet sweeps and that kind of thing. And now they're like, it's getting towards halfway through the season, guys. Let's go ahead and unleash McCole Hardman a little bit. Give these defenses something else to think about. That's unheard of.
It is, and it only continues to grow. And that side can't do what it's doing without the defensive side doing what it's doing. And we saw some good play from them too. Not perfect, still not doing enough against the run, but this is clearly 2 things stood out to me by the middle of the second quarter. One, Spags came out and he was trying to rattle Sam Darnold because he knows he can do it, and that puts everything into the toilet. And congratulations, it worked. He did go to Mims a few times, and some of the bigger plays were to Mims. If he had done that a little bit earlier, he probably would have had a better chance. But beyond that, it's also clear that Spags just doesn't care if they allow rushing yards. Because at the end of the day, Pat's going to do Pat, and Tyron's going to make some plays. Maybe Tyron will catch some eventually. I haven't heard Tyron's postgame, but I'm sure he's pissed.
I'm sure he is too. That's 2 or 3 that he dropped today.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like where Spags is going. He understands that he's got a weakness here against the run, but he's also understanding, a guy with his experience, head coaching experience, understands that the bulk, the whole of the defense is still stronger than it was last season. And that Achilles heel is not the one that's most important.
No, and I'm going to turn it a little bit to a different angle. We saw last week the Chiefs play a bunch of base defense. It was a snow game, and we saw Willie out there a lot.
Yep.
That did not happen this week, and he didn't really come in at all until the Chiefs were in the halfway through the fourth quarter, and that leaves me just I'm upset. I tweeted it out. Like I'm watching, and like I still haven't seen Willie Gay much, and I'm just disappointed. Like, why? You're up a whole bunch anyway. Why can't you just play him a little bit more? Like that's a frustrating aspect, because I think that he still feels that Dan Sorensen in the box as a linebacker and Ben Neiman, when they're up 28-9, is a better fit for what they're trying to accomplish. They're going to throw the football out. Just let Willie get out there and play coverage. Who cares if you give up a touchdown or not? Like, let him figure it out.
Yeah.
So, I'm a little upset about that. But it was nice to see them give up only like 67 yards of total offense in the second half. Like they knew that they had to throw the football, and they weren't going to be able to throw the football. There was just nothing they could do. Mims didn't do anything in the second half that I remember. They shut everyone down pretty much. And Sam Darnold just is unfortunately still on a really, really, really bad team. He made a couple nice throws in this game, but again, just very lackluster from the terrible Jets, and they are now 0-8. So there's that.
Yeah, I feel bad for Sam. I see Sam in a corner in the basement, like just slowly rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I think when he gets out of there, and I think he will get out of there, I think he can restart his career, and it's too bad that he needs to tell you the truth. Aaron, I do want to shout you out. Yes, you did. It went well for me too, folks. If you're a big fantasy guy, more power to you. I have played in my dynasty league for going on 18 years now, and I don't talk about it very much because I try to be, not the fantasy dude, to tell you the truth. But I just want to show you this, Aaron, since you brought it up. This is my day today. You can see me, the Mountain Men here, against my good friend Jesse. Tied. We're at 3rd and 4th in the league, and this is what happened. The only reason I won is because I had, you can see here, Mr. Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill going up against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. And hey, I'll take it however I can get it. This is a league that we've been running for a very, very long time. It's a 7-year redraft dynasty league. So I drafted Patrick the day he was drafted, or the year he was drafted, and he did the whole 9 yards, and this is why it's paying off. So congratulations to them and to us, I will say.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about my fantasy day. I went up against Dalvin Cook and DK Metcalf, so it's not was not good.
Apologies, friend. Apologies.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough day for my fantasy team. If you can imagine.
Christina brings one out, and I always like to shout out the ladies. It's nice that ladies come to the stream. Welcome, Christina. I don't know that we've talked before, but you bring up a very good point, and this is the one. It got kind of lost in the broadcast with the hilarity of Patrick piggybacking Tyreek off the field, but he really did come down really hard on that hip. It wasn't an ankle; it was the hip really that he made a hard collision. Now, Andy said no technical injuries, and that may absolutely be true, but I think Tyreek's gonna be limping when he walks in tomorrow.
Probably, and I don't think that Patrick would have done what he did if Tyreek had been like, "Look, I'm hurting a little bit. Like, don't take me off the field like this. Now come look at it." I think that they would have been a little bit different about it. So it's not surprising to me that Patrick decided to carry the team on his back like he did all day, and adding Tyreek Hill to that. So it was fun, and I think that Tyreek is probably fine. And I don't know if he'll come in limping. I think that he'll probably wake up and be like, "Oh, that's." Why did I let that happen? Probably more like I just run away from that guy.
Yeah, in the end, I think it all pays off. We need to get to the secondary because there's pluses and minuses in there. And folks, we don't go too far, but Dan appreciates the salute. We don't go too far tonight. Probably 30 minutes is our outer limit. So I want to make sure that we cover this because everyone knows how I feel about Dan Sorensen. And I think everybody should feel better that he's playing exactly where I'm telling you he should be playing, because 3 games in a row he comes up with a turnover. And more credit to him and more credit to Spags for doing what he needs to do. He needs to be, I think from that play, he was actually in the robber spot. I couldn't see the back safety because of the broadcast. We'll check that out for you on replay. But what was your impression of Sorensen today?
So from what I remember, he was still playing deep safety when they were in base, like in place of Thornhill. Thornhill wasn't on the field as much when they were in place, but as soon as they went to like nickel dime, then it was Thornhill back there and Sorensen down in the box. And I wonder if that's to try to get people to throw it deep when they're in base. Because I mean, why else would you play him back there if you're not like saying, look, we're going to put you as the deep safety and just cover everything deep. Don't even worry about coming up. Like, why would you do that? Because he's not going to be able to make plays on the football down the field if he gets, someone near him that's got speed and size. He's not going to be able to do that. That's not where his strength is. So, excuse me. So if that's what the plan is to do going forward, which I don't expect it to be, in base at least, I don't think that he should ever be back there. But Spags sees something, and maybe they're trying to force teams to throw it deep. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I'll live with it, but Spags, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. You got one. Old Obi should just be in the back. In fact, that's one of the ones. I'm still working on the t-shirt design, folks. And for those of you that are waiting on the memberships, they're getting closer. I got a bunch of the gifts and the graphic stuff done, which is it's the bottom level of the memberships. If you're any kind of member, you get a little placard that goes on your ID in the chat here. I'm pointing at the screen that you guys can't even see. I don't know why I'm doing that.
I can't see it either. So
right. Okay, great. But you also get to use these whatever emojicons I can come up with. So I came up with some fun stuff. So Cole, I'll try not to go beyond that, at least not in the public. One of the things the members will get will be kind of a private stream where you'll hear things more creative than that. Yes. But that said, for all the children watching tonight, including my own, girls go to bed. I thought at the end of the day, I thought Breezy played good. He dropped another interception as well. Juan was Juan. Derek Nottie came up big. I'm just a little concerned still about Charvarius Ward. I thought he looked worse at times, and I thought he looked better at times. How did you feel?
Yeah, it's an issue that we thought was going to be solved with the LASIK, and it doesn't. Either he's not calibrated to it yet, or it's just not going to get better. And we have to remember that he was an undrafted free agent when he was not drafted. And there's some things that when you're developing corners that won't, or any player that just won't get better, this could be one of those things that does not get better. And this is year 3 now, and it's not getting better. The vision hasn't improved. The LASIK is not helping him locate balls. And that's an issue as a corner. And one of the reasons you and I think that he's not going to be a number 1 corner for this team. And that's why I said that L'Jarius Sneed is the number 1 corner for this team, because there isn't anybody else that can play like he can locate the football, can play with the speed, the athleticism. And Charvarius Ward, unfortunately, has done it again. Look behind him, couldn't find the football. You see Denzel Mims out there with his arm, like trying to find him. He's like, where did he go? He's not there. A lot of people thought it was a push off. No, Denzel Mims is just trying to find him so that he can either try to slightly push off or just locate him so we can find the football. And he didn't have to do anything. He just was like, he's not there anymore, and I'm just going to catch this football. So he
was nearly falling down at the time.
Yeah, I know. Like he was, because he thought that he was closer. So he's like, I'm trying to find Ward, and he was not there at all because he didn't know where the football was. We saw it last year in the playoff game against the Texans, where he looks up for the football and then Will Fuller runs by him because he doesn't know where it is. So it's an issue, and I don't think it's going to get better. I don't think so. I really don't.
I can't say that I think so either. Sneed will come back, and I think it's becoming more clear now that it's going to be Breezy Fenton and Sneed when he is healthy.
Yep.
And nothing to rush him. I think Ward is again serviceable, and I do think that if they're going to try to keep it cheap, they might let Bashaud Breeland go and keep Ward.
I agree, because
they're probably not be
the same player,
right? And I think you can get Ward cheaper at this point. And I like Bashaud, kind of a knucklehead this offseason, but I feel like maybe he's gotten straight out. Maybe that means he can stay. I don't know. We'll deal with that in the offseason, folks. But that's what it looks like right now. Donnie, I want to shout you out. Thanks for the super chat as always. Appreciate it. And you brought up a good point. It wasn't just Tommy that made a special teams play today. I didn't notice the hash mark, but I did say this. I think maybe Travis should dunk every time he scores and everyone else and just back him up every time.
Every single time. Yeah. Sam McDowell of the Kansas City Star actually tweeted out before the game that they moved him to the hash mark to replicate more of what they're doing with field goals to make it feel the same. And you saw a marked improvement today. And I tweeted it last week, like, they're professionals. They're going to figure out what's going on. And he feels more comfortable kicking field goals right now than he did extra points. So they tried to replicate it on the field. And here we are with Dave Tobe and everyone else in the special teams unit getting it figured out because they're professionals. And I was never worried about it. And you know why.
I think it's going to be interesting. He'll settle down eventually, folks. There's nothing to worry about the one-pointers. I promise you. Yeah, it's not going to be an issue. That said, I think you'll see steady improvement here.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of questions about trades, guys. I'm not going to go over trades tonight. We'll get in the weeds so fast we won't know what to do. Tomorrow night, I'll answer all your trade questions. If Dan is available, and I don't know that you will be, but if you can pop in.
Right after 7, probably not.
Okay, cool.
I can say that.
So I will go over the trade questions tomorrow night, folks, because we have till Tuesday. So it's getting down to the crunch. So just hold those questions. Come back tomorrow night if you would. I appreciate that. I know a lot of you want to know about some of those scenarios, and there's just too many. Eric Miller, thank you very much. Do you think Patrick is displaying happy feet due to lack of confidence in the O-line? I actually felt like he settled down quite well the last 2 games.
Yeah, I feel the same. I don't think he was moving around a bunch. I think that they finally figured some things out. Quentin Williams won on a couple of plays. He's a really, really good player, and he's going to do that. I don't think that the offensive line played poorly per se. I think that we talked about in the pregame that their run defense is like the only thing that's pretty decent about them, and I think they showed that. Also, the fact that Le'Veon Bell came back probably lit a fire under them, and they were looking to stop the run. And I think the Chiefs were perfectly okay with that. Patrick Mahomes throws for over 405 touchdowns. That pretty much shows you they didn't care about running the football in this game. And it was a complete flip of what I expected. I expected them to run all over the Jets, and that did not happen. So I think that for the most part, the last 2 games, Patrick has felt comfortable. They've finally figured some things out. Even in the Bills game, he didn't really worry about happy feet or escaping the pocket too early. There was one play in the Bills game that irritated me. But other than that, the last 3 games, they have finally worked on him being more comfortable in the pocket, the offensive line doing a pretty good job, I would say, except for the issues with the blitzes in Denver. But they've done a pretty decent job of allowing him to not have to leave the pocket, to stay in the pocket, and guys are getting open all the time.
Yeah. I was a little frustrated with Wiley on that one play because Patrick got hit. I don't have a problem with getting beat once in a while. That's going to happen, especially if you're a younger guy like Wiley is. Not an issue. Same with Allegretti. I thought they both played really solid, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, they did.
But you can't let him get a free hit. You got to ride that, catch up to him. I don't care if you block him in the back. Don't let him hit Patrick.
Yeah, roll over him, something, do something.
I'll take the 15. Thanks. That's kind of my thought. But Eric Miller, thank you for pointing that out. Evidently, I am completely wrong, and Townsend did throw 3 times in college. Way to do the research. You're contributing already. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that.
That's awesome. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I am too, because I think that's really the last bastion. And I want to leave you guys with this one thought. If you don't do it yet, I tried to retweet it as much as I could, but I didn't catch them all. My favorite thing about injuries right now is Mitch Schwartz live tweeting games.
Oh man, it's the best. It's actually been the perfect situation. They've allowed him to get healthy, and he's not, I guarantee you, has not been healthy all season at all. He has not looked comfortable once, and they're allowing him to get healthy. He's just sitting back, enjoying his team winning, and he's just like, guess what, guys? When I come back, it's going to be even better. And you can feel it in his tweets. Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But it is eye-opening, especially Kelechi Osemele was doing it a little bit today too, and you can see the perspective of the fan, and even the perspective of the announcers, is not what the players feel. The perspective on when they make a big play, what that is very different when you're one of the guys in the locker room and you're standing on that field, especially when you're on the opposite side, when you're watching the defense and they're making plays. So give Mitch a follow if you don't already. He does pretty good cooking videos too, just so you know. One more super chat, then we'll get out of here. Longmorn, thank you again, as always. Was it the same edge not staying home on the boots? I did not think so. It was Tano last week. I thought he did a pretty solid job today.
I think he actually, I think that what they did this week was focus completely on that. I think he set a much firmer edge this week, and they did a pretty good job of getting that fixed from 1 week to this week. So that was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah. We'll see more of it. I think your boy Mike Dana did pretty good. We'll talk about that coming up as you review his film. I won't touch that one, I promise.
No, that's okay. Yeah, there's two guys that I'm going to focus on this week. I can tell you that much.
Folks, if you dug the Willie review last week, I'm sure Dan will have something fun for you on Mike Dana. So
I promise you that. He'll be included for sure.
And we'll both be doing film reviews. I'll have the stats next week. We're going to get some grades from Danilo. You guys check that out again. It's going to be a little bit more prescient. Let's see what you think of this one. If not, I'll start throwing some out there myself too. Although you're not going to like mine because I don't grade on a curve. Everybody gets C's unless you do something special. So that said, look for something from Jeff this week. I think you'll enjoy that. Another voice. And Aaron Morrow, thank you as always for running this show when you know I can't. So from for all of you, over 400 tonight, we appreciate that. I know it's a little bit late given it was an early game, but from all of us here at the RGR team, we really appreciate it. Thanks for the time, Dan.
Thank you. I love you guys. I really appreciate what you guys do. Always here supporting us. So again, thank you.
And we will see you tomorrow night. Bring all your questions. We'll have plenty of time. All right. Have a good one. Enjoy this one, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.